Well, it is definitely not over yet. Today we got the word that Johnny Depp is appealing the $2 million verdict against him for Amber Heard. We already knew from yesterday that Amber Heard was appealing the judgment against her for $10,350,000. So now we got the word Johnny Depp is doing the same. Today I want to talk about why he absolutely had to do that. He did not have a choice. Hi everybody, it's Harvard Lawyer Lee. Welcome to the channel. We are all about making the absolute most interesting lawsuits understandable. Today I want to talk about why Johnny Depp had to appeal that case. And the answer is rooted in what an appeal is. And let me tell you what they filed and what an appeal is, and then I'll explain why he didn't have a choice. So what they filed, first of all, is just a notice of appeal. It's not the big brief that will ultimately go to the appellate court. That brief will be 40, 50 pages long, will have lots of arguments. But this particular motion is just, it's not even a motion, it's a notice of appeal. It simply informs the court and the other party that there will be an appeal. That's all it does. It's about one page. So what Amber Heard said was very short, said she was appealing the judgment against her, and she listed three things. First, she's appealing from the final judgment order. Secondly, she's appealing from the order on her post-trial motions. And thirdly, from the orders and rulings that came before that. Now, Johnny Depp filed his today, and there was a little bit more mystery around that because we knew from the day after the verdict that Amber Heard was going to appeal because Elaine Bredehoft went on all of the talk shows and said Amber's going to appeal. So we knew that. That wasn't a surprise. But Johnny Depp's attorneys were a lot cagier. They wouldn't really just come out and say, yeah, he's going to appeal. And part of the reason we suspect is because he was trying to strike a deal with Amber. And the deal would be, if you will stop the appeal, not appeal, then I will settle for either a small amount or no amount. We can't really know what the terms were. But that wasn't ultimately what happened. She didn't settle the case, so now they both filed their notices of appeal. And Depp's team said he planned to appeal all adverse rulings and from the final judgment. That, as you know, was for $2 million for Depp to owe Amber Heard on just one of the three claims of defamation that she brought in her counterclaim. So here's what Depp's team said at the time that they filed today. It was, quote, a source close to Depp. That's what CNN called the person. Said, the verdict speaks for itself, and Mr. Depp believes that this is a time for both parties to move on with their lives and heal. But if Ms. Heard is determined to pursue further litigation by appealing the verdict, Mr. Depp is filing a concurrent appeal to ensure that the full record and all relevant legal issues are considered by the Court of Appeal. Now, let's unpack that. Let's break that down a little bit and talk about what it is that made Johnny Depp need to appeal. Because you have to understand that there are really two separate cases. There was one trial, and so it looked like to all outside observers there was really just one case. But there were two different cases. There was Johnny Depp's case against Amber and Amber's case against Johnny. And both of those had separate verdicts and they have separate appeals. So in other words, Johnny could appeal his case and Amber could not appeal her case. Amber could appeal her case and Johnny could not appeal his. Either is entirely possible. If Johnny Depp were to decide to not appeal the $2 million judgment against him, then what could happen is the case could go up on appeal, it could be reversed, it could come back for a new trial, and this time it would not include Amber's counterclaims against Johnny. That would be over and done because Johnny already paid it. There was nothing left to do with that, so that would be completely finished. Now, if that happened, then that could change dramatically the way the course of the trial went because of the fact that evidence came in based on what both sides were arguing. So, for example, one of the things that Amber argued was that she was traumatized by the defamation against her. The evidence surrounding that included a lot of medical testimony that might not have been relevant if the only issue was Johnny's defamation case against Amber. Many of the judges' decisions were conditioned on what exactly was in both of those cases. And the trial would have been entirely different if you had pulled one out. There still would have been the issue about whether or not she lied and whether or not she told the truth. So some of that might have come in, but the trauma stuff and a lot of the medical testimony that came in might never have gotten into the trial. It also would mean that Johnny Depp would have to pay the $2 million with no possibility of getting it back, while Amber Heard would have a chance of overturning the verdict against her. Let's say the appellate court said, we think that this particular issue was decided wrongly, we're sending it back for a new trial. Maybe that would have affected both cases, both Johnny's and Amber's cases. And if that were the case, then if Johnny had not bothered to appeal, it would have done him absolutely no good. That ruling would only help Amber by giving her a new trial. It wouldn't have given him a new trial. Between those facts, Johnny Depp's team really had no choice but to appeal. Note that they waited until the day after Amber announced her appeal. Amber had said repeatedly that she planned to appeal, but she had now shown her hand by actually appealing. And so Johnny Depp's team at that point had no choice and nothing left to lose. And that's why they said, we're doing it so the full record is there. And that's another issue, because if indeed Johnny Depp had not appealed the verdict against him, then some of the evidence in the underlying case would have been irrelevant and it might not have gone up on appeals. When we talk about the record on an appeal, what that means is that the appellate court didn't sit through the trial. The appellate court didn't see the evidence, see the witnesses, any of that. The appellate court will only look at the record right before it when it decides the appeal. And both parties have to put everything they want the appellate court to see into the record. So if they want the appellate court to see the testimony from a certain witness, that has to go into the record. If they want a certain exhibit to be there, that has to go into the record. If anything gets left out, then that means the appellate court cannot consider it. The appellate court can only look at the exact things that are sent up by the parties and that are part of the record on appeal. So Johnny Depp's team is saying, we want everything up on appeal. We want the matters that were in both the claim by Johnny Depp and the counterclaim by Amber Heard to be present before the appellate court so that thing the parties want to refer to is in the record. Because if what happens is something gets left out and a party says, well, there was this thing in the trial where such and such happened, but it's not in the record, the appellate court will say, we don't have it. It's not in the record. It's not part of the appeal. You can't refer to that. So the parties are both looking to make sure that all of the evidence that they need to support their claims gets put into the record and gets put up on the appeal. In a nutshell, that's why Johnny Depp had to appeal. I really don't think he had a choice. If Amber is going to appeal, Johnny is going to too. I don't think he wants to appeal. His lawyer said shortly afterwards that he's gotten everything he wanted. What he wanted was vindication. What he wanted was for the public to know, and he got that. So I don't believe he's going to get more. In fact, the appeal does nothing for him. A new trial would be less than nothing for him. It would be a negative for him. So at this point, he's only waiting in order to see if she'll lose the appeal. But he might as well go for what he could get out of the appeal as well, to preserve the evidence, to preserve his rights if in fact the trial comes back. So thanks for watching, and please sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.